Okay, this is the last part of the review video. Okay, so what I see here is question 20. They asked me to solve and check this equation. So I'm going to go ahead and start by solving it algebraically. On the left side, I notice I've got a 3x plus a 2x, so I can combine those. And then on the right side, I notice there's some parentheses, which means I've got to distribute. I am going to distribute the entire -2. So this becomes minus 2x minus 4. Now on this right side, I've got like terms I can combine again. So 13 minus 4 is 9. So this becomes 9 minus 2x equals 5x minus 5. Now that I've simplified both sides, I can start moving things from one side to the other. So I want to get all my x's on the same side. 5x and 2x is 7x. Then I can add 5 to both sides. And I get 7x equals 14. Then I can divide both sides by 7. And I get x equals 2. If I want to check this, which would be a really good idea, I don't have in my calculator, I'm going to open a new page just in case there's something stored that I forgot about. I'm going to add a calculator page. I'm going to go to Menu, Algebra, Numerical Solve, and I'm going to type this in. 3x plus 2x minus 5 equals 13 minus 2 parentheses x plus 2, close my parentheses, comma, x. And if I hit enter, it agrees. So I feel very confident that that worked. Sweet. Okay. Couple more. Solve, check, and graph. Now, why in the world would it be asking me to graph? Well, the reason it's asking me to graph is because it's an inequality. Because this is less than or equal to, I want to remember that I'm going to be using a closed circle at the boundary. So step 1 is to find the boundary. And that means I'm just going to figure out when -3 times y minus 4 plus 7y minus 8 equals -5 plus 9 times y plus 4. So I'm going to figure out the solution to this equation. So I'm going to start by distributing over here on the left. That'll give me -3y plus 12 plus 7y minus 8 equals. On the right, I also have distributing. So it's -5 plus 9y plus 36. Before I start moving things around, I'm going to go ahead and combine my like terms. So -3 plus 7, that is 4y. Then I can combine my plus 12 and my minus 8, that's plus 4, equals. On the right side, I can combine my -5 and my plus 36. That's 31 plus 9y. Okay, now I can start moving things from one side to the other. I'm going to move all my y's to one side. So I'm going to subtract 4y from both sides. And I get 4 equals 31 plus 5y. Then I can subtract 31 from both sides. And I get 27 equals 5y. 4 minus 31, yes. That should be -27. And then to get y by itself, I'm going to divide both sides by 5. And I get -27 over 5 equals y. So that's my boundary point. Now, I know the number line's down here. I'm going to move it up here so I have plenty of room. Here's 0. I'd like to know what negative 27 over 5 is. So I'm going to go ahead and type in negative 27 over 5, and I'm going to hit Control Enter to get it as a decimal. So that's negative 5.4. So let's say on my number line, here's negative 5, here's negative 6. So right about here would be negative 5.4, and that is my boundary. Again, we said back at the top that because it was less than or equal to in the original, I'm going to have a closed circle here. Now the question is my solution everything below negative 5.4 or everything above? You cannot assume that it's going to keep, that sign is going to be the same. There's a lot of algebra that we did here. So what we want to do next is we're going to test a value. So I'm going to test 0. I'm going to test y equals 0 and see if it makes it true or false. So I'm going to go to my calculator. I'm going to take 0 and store it as y. Hit enter. And now I'm going to type in my inequality. Make sure that you do negative 3, not minus 3. Y minus 4 plus 7y minus 8 is less than or equal to negative 5 plus 9 parentheses y plus 4. Close your parentheses. Now, I'm not solving this, so I don't have to put the comma. I can just hit enter and it'll tell me if it's true or false. What it says here is that this is true. So 0 makes the inequality true, which means this is the side of negative 5.4 that I want to shade. I don't want to shade below it. I want to shade the side that makes it true. So that's going to be right up here. So now I've got my graph. I need to write my solution. My solution is any y value that is greater than or equal to negative 5.4. So there's my solution and my graph. You could also write y is greater than or equal to negative 27 over 5. So either of those answers would be acceptable. Just to make sure that we've got this, our boundary point solved for correctly, because remember, anytime we can check our work, we want to do that. I'm going to open a new document. I'm going to go to Menu, Algebra, Numerical Solve, and I'm going to input this equation right here. And just make sure I didn't make a mistake on solving for my boundary point. So I've got negative 3 parentheses y minus 4 plus 7y minus 8 equals negative 5 plus 9 parentheses y plus 4, close my parentheses. And I do want to solve this, so I've got to tell it solve for the variable y. I hit enter. And I get negative 5.4. So I can be pretty confident I found my boundary correct. I tested my point. I've got my solution. 22. Okay. Water is being drained out of a swimming pool at a constant rate of 780 gallons per hour. The swimming pool initially contained 45,000 gallons of water. A chemical additive must be added to the pool when it has no more than 15,000 gallons remaining. No more than means 15,000 or less. Okay, so we start out with 45,000 gallons of water. Since water is draining, I'm not adding to this, I'm subtracting from it. And I'm subtracting 780 gallons each hour. So I'm not just subtracting it once, I'm subtracting it over and over and over again, which means it needs a variable. Anytime you write a variable, you want to write a let statement. I'm going to let X equal the number of hours. So the amount of water in the pool is represented by 45,000 minus 780X. It says write and solve an inequality to find the least number of hours before the chemical could be added. So before I go any further, I'm going to answer that question first. I know it can be added when it has no more than 15,000 gallons. So when the amount of water, which is represented by this expression here, is less than or equal to 15,000. So as long as it's 15,000 gallons or less, I'm good to go. In order to solve this, this is an inequality. So the first thing, I wrote my inequality. Now I'm going to solve it. First thing, if it's an inequality, I'm going to find my boundary. Your boundary tells you when 45,000 minus 780X is going to be exactly 15,000 gallons. Okay? Because my original inequality is less than or equal to, I know that I'm going to use a closed circle on my number line because of the equals underneath. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and solve this. So I'm going to subtract 45,000. That gives me negative 780X equals negative 30,000. And then I can divide both sides by negative 780. And that gives me X equals. I'm going to do negative 30,000 divided by negative 780. I have a sneaking suspicion this is not going to be a whole number. So I'm going to hit Control, Enter. And that gives me 38, whoops, 0.4615 hours. So on my number line, here's 0. Let's say this is 38 hours. This is 39 hours. So right about here is going to be 38.4615. Right there is when there will be exactly 15,000 gallons in the pool. Now, you could test a value like 0 and see if it makes it true or false, or you could reason your way through this. At 0 hours, I've got 45,000 gallons of water in the pool because it hasn't started draining yet. It drains and drains and drains and drains and drains. And then here at 38.4615 hours, it's at 15,000. If I let it drain longer, there's going to be less water in the pool. So I want there to be 15,000 gallons or less. So my solution is going to be up here. Now, just to double check this, let's say I take 0. Whoops. 0, and I store it as X. So now I'm going to type in my original inequality. 45,000 minus 780X needs to be less than or equal to 15,000. What I get is that it's false. So at 0, it's false. That means I do not want 0 as part of my solution. So I'm not going to shade the left side of my boundary. I'm going to shade the right side. So my answer would be X can be anything that is greater than or equal to, because I shaded above, 38.4615 hours. Now, if I remember, there were some more questions up here. So it says, write and solve an inequality. I did that to find the least number of hours before the chemical could be added. Now, my suspicion is there's actually a typo here. I think they probably want to know the least number of whole hours. If they were to ask you the least number of whole hours, 38.4615 is in between 38 and 39. The smallest whole number that's in the solution is 39 hours. So I could also write the least number of whole hours is 39. And the last question asks, if we go back up, will it take longer than 2 days? Justify your response. 2 days is 48 hours. It will not take longer than 2 days. Okay. We're almost done. 23. The trapezoid below has legs with lengths of y feet and one base that is 4 feet longer than the other base, x. The perimeter is given by this formula right here. Solve for y. So I've got P equals 2x plus 2y plus 4. I want to get my term with y by itself. So the first thing I'm going to move, just because it's the first thing in my equation, is going to be the 2x. So I'm going to subtract it. P minus 2x, those are not like terms, so I can't combine them. So I just have to leave it this way. The next thing I need to get rid of to get y alone is the plus 4. So I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides. Again, 4 can't be combined with P or 2x. So this is just going to be a longer subtraction statement. P minus 2x minus 4 equals 2y. Since it's 2 times y, to finish this up and get y alone, I would divide both sides by 2. So my answer is going to be y equals P minus 2x minus 4 all over 2. Now, the second part says if the perimeter of the figure is 26, so if P equals 26 and the shorter base x is 8, then find the length of the leg y. Well, the good news is I know y is equal to P minus 2x minus 4 all over 2. So now I'm just going to substitute these in. If P is 26, I'm going to replace P with 26. If x is 8, I'm going to replace x with 8. And then I'm going to simplify this down. So this is 26 minus 16 minus 4 all over 2. 26 minus 16 is 10. Minus 4 is 6. And 6 over 2 is 3. So y would equal 3. 24. Solve for m. Okay, this is a beautiful equation, but I want you to notice that there are some denominators here. When you've got fractions in your equation, and it's not just one fraction, but it's complicated, okay, you're going to need to try to get common denominators. I also notice that I've got distribution in this first fraction, and I've got distribution over here on the right. So I think before I try to get common denominators, I'm going to take care of that distribution first. So I'm going to have m over 5, because there's no distribution there, plus 3m minus 3 over 2 equals. And then I'm going to write this last piece as a fraction as well. 2m minus 6 all over 1. So now I want to get the denominators the same so that I can cancel them out. Well, what can I make a 5 and a 2? I can make those a 10. So I'm going to multiply my first fraction by 2 over 2, which is just 1. I'm going to multiply my second fraction by 5 over 5. And I'm going to multiply this last fraction by 10 over 10. This first fraction is going to become 2m over 10. My second fraction is going to become, I've got to multiply the 5 by everything inside. So 15m minus 15 over 10 equals, distribute the 10 through, 20m minus 60 over 10 times 1 is just 10. So now I've rewritten all these fractions so they have the same denominator. And now I can multiply both sides by 10 to get rid of that denominator. So this 10 and this 10 are going to divide out and leave me with 20m minus 60. This 10, when I distribute it, will divide out with those two 10s there. So on the right side, I'll be left with 2m plus 15m minus 15. And now this is much easier to solve. I'm going to combine my like terms. 2 plus 15 is 17m minus 15 equals 20m minus 60. And I can subtract 17m from both sides. So that'll give me negative 15 equals 3m minus 60. I can add 60 to both sides. 45 equals 3 times m. Use my division property of equality to divide both sides by 3, and I get 15 equals m. I would really like to check this to make sure I don't have a mistake. I'm going to go ahead and open a new document just so I don't have to worry about any stored values. Add a calculator page, menu, algebra, numerical solve, and I'm going to enter the original problem. So I've got a fraction, m over 5 plus. Now I've got another fraction, 3 parentheses, whoops. Let's see. There we go. 3 parentheses, m minus 1, close your parentheses, over 2 equals 2 parentheses, m minus 3. And since I'm solving it, I've got to put a comma m so it knows what to solve for. Enter. 15. Woohoo! Okay, we got it right. Last one. Jody's older brother is only 3 years less than twice Jody's age. 3 years less means I'm going to subtract 3 from twice Jody's age. Twice means 2 times x. When you have a word problem and you're using a variable, what is x going to represent? X is Jody's age. Okay. It says the sum of their ages is 30. That means if I take the brother's age plus Jody's age, I should get 30. Well, I know Jody's age is x, and I just found out the brother's age is represented by 2x minus 3. So altogether, that should give me 30. Now I can solve this. 2x plus x, same side, so I just add them together. 3x minus 3 equals 30. Add 3 to both sides. 3x equals 33. Divide both sides by 3, division property of equality, and we get x equals 11. Okay? Now, if you circle that and write Jody is 11, you solved your equation correctly, but you did not answer the question. It says, which of the following is the age of Jody's brother? Jody is 11. Her brother is 2 times x minus 3. So 2 times 11 minus 3. 22 minus 3 is 19. So Jody's brother is 19. Okay, that is everything for the review. Hopefully you got some good ideas of strategies you can use. I was after school today. Nobody came in to review, but maybe we'll have some people in tomorrow. Please let me know if you've got questions, okay? Thanks so much. Bye.